Alright, let's just get right into it. Today, we're basically gonna throw a lit match into the whole system. We're talking about the 30-day anti-comfort reset, a plan that might just be the slap in the face you need to wake up from this numb world we're all kind of floating through. So picture this. I actually did this. I sat in an empty room, no phone, no TV, nothing. And I just waited. And I swear, about 25 minutes in, the paint on the walls started whispering to me. I met a side of myself I had no idea was even there. That's all it was, just 4 blank walls and the sound of my own breathing. And out of that silence came this restless, kind of like an itching your bones sort of hunger. And you know what that hunger was for? Comfort. For those cheap, instant dopamine hits we mainlined every 5 minutes like we're lab rats hitting a button for a sugar pellet. When you strip all that junk away, you finally see just how addicted you really are. And here's the brutal truth. Most of us, we're living in one of these, a dopamine-padded cell. It's a prison we build for ourselves out of comfort, distraction, and all those cheap digital rewards. And this state of being? Well, it's absolutely killing your focus, your ambition, and your damn spirit. So today, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a hard look at that padded cell. We're gonna figure out how in the world we got in here, and more importantly, how we get the hell out. So let's start with, a pretty gritty confession. The core diagnosis of the whole problem. And here's a hint. It's not some moral failing on your part. No, it's biological. Listen to me on this. You're not lazy. You're drugged. Think about it. While you're trying to work, your phone lights up. Boom, that's a hit of dopamine. Video games, sugar, Netflix, just endlessly scrolling, it's more and more dopamine. You get in your car, your playlist starts blasting, that's another dose. It's just a constant, never-ending feed. You see, most people think the enemy is procrastination. Wrong, that's just a symptom. The real enemy is your biology. It's your brain's built-in primal urge to chase these tiny little micro-pleasures. And that urge has been weaponized by a world that's literally designed to keep you consuming. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? We are rats, pulling a lever for cheese, and the lever is everywhere. It's in your pocket, it's in your fridge, it's on every screen you own. It's inescapable. So this is the most crucial point right here. You don't need more motivation, you don't need another productivity hack. You need to break the system that's making you numb in the first place. See, your brain isn't wired for greatness. It's wired to survive and use as little energy as possible. Ambition? That's a software update you have to consciously, deliberately install. You either audit your dopamine or you live your entire life on autopilot. It's that simple. Okay, so if the whole system is broken, how do we fix it? How do we actually install that software update? Let's get into the practical side of this, the system for rewiring your brain's reward circuit. Dan Coe puts this perfectly. Dopamine itself isn't the bad guy here. The problem is unearned dopamine. See, every time you choose that easy comfort, every pointless scroll, every mindless bite of junk food, you're teaching your brain, hey, this is safety, do this again. And that is what rots your motivation from the inside out. So here's the system. It's a super simple 3-step process. First, you're going to list all your main dopamine sources. Your phone, junk food, social media, the news, even that background music you always have playing. Second, you got to rate them. Which ones are just empty distractions, and which are actually meaningful rewards. And third, for 30 days, you cut the lowest value, highest frequency stuff. Not forever, just long enough to let the walls start talking back. And look, I'm not gonna lie to you, it will feel like absolute hell. You'll twitch, you'll invent a million reasons to check your pocket. You'll find yourself reaching for that stimulation like a junkie in withdrawal. My advice? Let it burn. This is the detox your ambition has been starving for. So what happens when you actually push through that fire, right? What happens when you stop numbing yourself out for a while? Let's talk about what's waiting for you on the other side of that pain. About halfway through my own reset, I had this weird realization. I was genuinely grieving my distractions. It felt like breaking up with a lover who, always picks up your calls. It was a real, actual sense of loss. But on the other side of that grief, something incredible happened. There was space. For the first time in I don't know how long, there was just pure, quiet, mental space. Space to actually think. And this is so interesting because what you get is space to get bored, the very thing we spend our whole lives running from. But boredom, that's the birthplace of real ideas. I actually started reading books again, not just scanning top 10 lists. I called old friends because I was genuinely lonely, not just because my thumbs had nothing to do. The discomfort led to real connection. And that's when it hit me. The ultimate truth. Every single powerful, successful person I had ever envied, they all had one thing in common: an insane tolerance for discomfort. Not that they enjoyed pain, they just had the clarity to sit with difficult feelings until they passed. That's the superpower. Okay, so let's boil all this down into a practical, actionable plan. No more theory. This is your blueprint for a real reset. This is your 30-day challenge. Here it is. Step 1. Do a dopamine audit. Write down everything that numbs you. Be honest. 2. Pick 3 comforts to kill. Social media before noon, it's out. Your phone in the bedroom, gone. 3. Replace them with things that are harder, but ultimately sweeter. Silence instead of a podcast, a real book instead of YouTube. 4. Watch the pain, and then just wait for the clarity. The discomfort is the whole point. And finally, 5. Document your withdrawal. Write down the cravings, the anger, the boredom, and then write down the new ideas. Watch what happens when your real focus comes roaring back to life. So, let's wrap this up with the most important takeaway from all of this. It's this simple. Comfort is the cage. It is the invisible handcuff you willingly put on yourself every single day. You think you want an easier life, but I'm telling you, what you really want is a meaningful struggle. And everything you truly want, the growth, the achievement, the purpose, all of it lives outside that cozy cage of comfort. Look, the world offers you 1,000 easy escapes, 1,000 ways to numb out. And if you take enough of them, you'll completely exit your own story. So the question is pretty simple. Are you ready to wake the hell up? Most people will probably click away right now and go scroll for something lighter, something more comfortable. And that's fine. But a few of you will feel something shifting in your gut right now. Dare yourself to be the person who can just sit with the walls until they speak. Because most people won't. And that is exactly why you should.